Hello.
Hi, Matt. How are you?
Hello. Can you hear me now?
I can, buddy.
Okay,
Welcome
perfect.
back to F.A.C.E, my friend.
Hi. Thank you for having me again.
So you're a West Coaster too, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
I used to say, Matt, because I've been in California many years. When I left Chicago at 22, I would say my life is like a farmer, up before sunrise, asleep after sundown, except that I nurture seeds of greed. There's a harvest of commissions.
There we go.
All right,
A
so
harvest of commissions.
we're using Zoom now, so there's a green box that says share, and you just click that, and then you could show what's on your radar.
Okay. So there's the share button, and then I probably click this one over here.
Beautiful.
Okay. Now, do you see this toggle
Uh,
bar here?
Ghost Month is up, date of the Ghost Festival, things like that.
Cool. Yeah. And all charts and stuff. Perfect. Okay.
Okay, so I have to say I'm looking forward to it. I never know sometimes the first time I interview someone,
Mm-hmm.
but then I know within 5-10 minutes if there's someone with some real skills, and I include you in that, buddy. So
Ah,
I'm excited to hear and see what you have to offer today and what
awesome.
you're seeing, buddy. So
Okay.
we're gonna start off with Bitcoin.
Sure. Yeah. I'm just
So
gonna.
last time we were talking about that we could pull back because I learned about Ghost Month from you,
Okay.
and then I brought it up to all the other crypto people after that interview we had. So
Okay.
Ghost Month, not much action, and I remember you saying, wouldn't it be nice if we had a sell off in August and then some type of retest into the equinox? And we're not that. See, I remember everything. So
Yeah.
what? Maybe that's going to happen here.
Well, yeah. So, like over here, we're not on air yet, right?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, we are. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello. So okay.
All
So
right. This is Matt Thistle.
hi.
And why don't you give we did the why don't you give just a quick 2 minute who you are?
Sure. So my name is Matt, and I started off in music here with Twitter. So it's my handle here is DJ Thistle 01, and also Coin Street News. We have a separate Twitter page that is just analysis and breaking news and none of my worldly comments. And then also coinstreetnews.com is a blog. And yeah, I like crypto and commodities, and I'm glad to be here this morning.
A true action junkie, Matt Thistle. So
Yeah.
all
So
right, buddy. So
sure.
go ahead.
So last time I was here, I think it was the 19th of June or the 9th, something like that.
Yeah,
So it
in
was
that range. We
it
were making new highs, and I thought we might have a third drive, and then it
sure.
accelerated.
Right. So
Okay.
that was right here then. I think that was the 19th,
Yeah.
right up here.
Yeah.
So, and at the time, that was right before the breakout. And we were talking about 3 drives versus 3 pushes.
Right.
And we were 1, 2, and right here. So that was what I was calling 3 pushes based on a Bollinger Band methodology. And I was looking for a basic 3 drives, which was this 1, 2, 3. And then that slight bit of acceleration we got at the top here was the out,
Yeah.
and we had a pullback into, well, here was the lows here in July and a rebound, and that failed, came down to here's the 15th, and that is Ghost Festival. And then we have here on the
I
29th.
dressed up as Casper
There we go. Pull that down a little bit.
because I'm a
and
friendly ghost, buddy.
And then right here on the 29th, it retested that low and bounced. And that was the last day, August 29th,
Yeah.
2019, of Ghost Festival. So it's basically, you see, so for people listening, Ghost Festival is a time and where you're not supposed to be over invested. It's supposed to be, bad luck. And there's a lot of Asian traders and a lot of influence in the market, and especially in crypto. So we saw that big run up into June. It ends for the summer. we have a pullback and a bounce. Other people might be thinking extension. It's not, because in here, the Asian influence in the market is, pulling back for the summer and going into Ghost Festival. We have the bounce. Now, the key, what I was saying, at least I hope I said it on the show, was that the key is that the low usually comes in near the festival date, not the front of Ghost Month. The festival date tends to be the low, and then after the festival, you see often a little bit of consolidation, which we did. It was perfect, and then it retests it as it exits Ghost Month. And if Bitcoin is going to have any sort of real bull market for, like into Black Friday or Christmas, we would want to see at worst some kind of like that action or something like that.
Okay.
You don't necessarily want to see it break down from Ghost Month lows.
What happens if it does? It almost looks like a descending triangle to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a possibility here that we could be seeing is that it, like a lot of the fundamentals for Bitcoin seem strong right now. So let's go to this chart over here. We have backed opening on the 23rd. We have a CME expiration, and then we have 3 ETFs that have to be decided on. 2 of them are final decisions. That's all in this big block of window here. So when I look at a lot of triangles, I kind of look for 3 touches, and then the 4th is the breakout. So it kind of looks like that's all playing out. And if we do have a low into Equinox again, that would be right as the triangle hits all its fundamental analysis here instead of just pure technicals over here. So, yes, it does look like that descending triangle. It could be possible that this type of formation is going to be a little bit Wyckoff-ish. And if we were to go something like that,
7,000.
yeah, who knows?
Isn't that what it would measure?
Yeah, it would be down in here anywhere from 83 to that would be and hopefully if that happened, it would just be kind of like a spring, right?
Well, what's the difference as long as you're on the right side of it?
Yeah, exactly.
So whenever I hear someone say hopefully, they're telling me they're biased.
Yeah, so my bias there would definitely be that if it breaks down, that it would be a Wyckoff like spring and then back up into that range and out.
All right.
Yep.
That could happen. 7,000 and then, maybe all-time highs, huh?
Yeah, well, when we were, it's definitely a big analog of the old gold fractal, and I think I showed that before, and some other shows have been on recently. People always laugh and go, well, they're 2 totally uncorrelated assets, and that's 30 years apart or 40 years apart. That has no bearing. But really, something I was talking about with a person was that, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Because, we see a lot of these market patterns are exactly the same from a Wyckoff or Gann or Livermore era versus today. So today we have all these algorithms. So is it that we have human psychology and that we play into our greed and fears the same way throughout time? And then as computers came into the picture, the computers quantified that human emotion, but then because it's quantifying it and run with, like the liquidity is being provided basically by trading robots now. So is one, making the other one happen now, whereas before it was pure humans in the market, and now it's algorithms playing out these emotions in a mathematical way. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's interesting because classical things, and I know you're into them, or you wouldn't. I've never heard anyone talk about Livermore trading techniques. I'd be interested to hear a little bit about that. But all of these classical technical patterns, they go back to the masters, and like Solomon said, there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
And we still have stop hunts done by, like you say, algos, where they'll come in, that's where the stops are, they'll go for the liquidity. But the same thing happened before them with open outcry. Men did it. Men would bid a market up into buy stops or offer it, into sell stops. Now it's just machines, but really, a chart is a chart is a chart for all time, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems as it like I think there's enough historical evidence in front of us that suggests that. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll
Oh,
move on here. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you were going
So
to talk about some currencies and
yeah, and I'll just finish up with Bitcoin. I know last
okay.
time we were talking big picture as well too, and with Wyckoff stuff, I like to look at 3 steps and a blow off.
Uh-huh.
So I was showing that on the biggest picture, like the all-time chart here for BTC, kind of 1, 2, 3 and a blow off, 1, 2, 3
Right.
and a blow off, 1, 2, 3 and a blow off. We could be sort of finishing stage 1 here, which could be of a grand cycle, 1, 2, 3, and a fourth.
Okay.
I do a little bit of astrology and whatnot with trading, just as pivot points of market. I like to look further out, and
Uh-huh.
I look at 2026 as being in that hippie model, a particularly difficult time for Bitcoin. So I wonder if we could be coming into this, four waves here, and if this 1, 2, 3, 4 is the end of a 1, 2, 3, 4, and maybe at the end of this we do see sort of the end of the start of mass adoption for Bitcoin. It'll be interesting to see. I think the next few years holds the key. So that would be at 1, 2, 3, and then 4 and off. So
Okay.
Bitcoin will be very interesting for the next while.
Do Geminis make good traders because they're schizophrenic?
Yeah, right. They have somebody to talk to when it goes wrong.
I've never heard that one before. I do
Anyways,
talk to myself. All right, that's very good. All right, go ahead,
uh,
buddy.
just touch on metals briefly because there's been a lot of move in
Yeah,
gold and whatnot, and I think a lot
yeah,
of people want to see 17 or new highs. Obviously gold has broken highs and most other currencies other than the US dollar. And
yes. Almost all of them.
yeah, but I don't know. My gut feeling, I like to go off of charts, but every now and again, my gut, not my feelings, but my gut instinct kicks in, and it tends to usually not be too wrong. And my gut kind of feels like Trump is playing the trade game so that he can manufacture ups and downs in the market and not have the market or recession sort of create themselves. I know that sounds too smart for him, but I feel like there's a game being played so that the trade wars can kind of work a lot of itself out before coming into an election.
It's funny. I saw a cartoon on Twitter that shows him with his phone and screens of the stock market in front of him, and he's looking at the charts and getting ready to do a tweet,
Yeah, there we go.
implying he's trading the
Yeah,
stuff.
and it would make sense, and it would be good for him to have the market have its wobbles, but then recover coming into election season, and then hey,
Right.
I told you we have a good economy, blah blah blah. Gold has just moved into a technical kind of area where it should pull back, and it has. So that would be a perfect time for him and the markets and everything to kind of pull back a bit, and maybe things get resolved, and let's say he wins again, just purely based off of statistical factors of a lot of presidents with where he's at with the economy tend
Well,
to.
Matt, there are a lot of deflationists that people are laughing at now that, missed this whole gold move because they
Yeah,
thought before we'd have a true bull market, we'd see it under 1,000. Do you
yeah,
think that because now it seems like that is such a contrarian call that it could happen?
yeah. Uh, it could happen in that. Here, let me just delete some stuff here. If we were to look at kind of extrapolate for the amount of time today, but if we were to extrapolate the data from the last bull to bear and this current one, I think that there is the option for it to go down into 800s, and that would be all of the trade sort of tensions getting worked out, and then everything being fine after 2024. I kind of think that after a second Trump win, that Republicans would be in tough water, and that there would be a ideological pushback in America, which would probably see the Democrats win again. And unless it's a very stock friendly person, I think the market might, for how high the market is right now, might see some problems. So if,
Okay, so
if
the bull
Trump were to
market
win,
continues under Trump
yeah,
until for another 4 years, and then someone like Sanders who will be 99 after
yeah.
that. That would be it. So
So that would
actually,
maybe make gold do something like that, where we pull back into trades. Here, delete. Where we pull back into trade wars getting worked out a bit, and then maybe kind of like we wobble, and then we got echoes of a new election coming, and then
yeah,
a
5,000.
Democrat boom, and then it's
Yeah.
So
Okay.
because it's such a long picture with gold, it's not like Bitcoin where we're looking at that big stuff in a matter
Yeah.
of years, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then with that said, we've had silver finally kind of return back to the mean of its highs and retesting here the
Well,
breakdown.
I remember the gold silver ratio in the 40s. So, I mean, it's not even close to that.
Yeah.
Still, upper 80s. But
And the long-term view of platinum has just been lower and lower lows on the ratio, and this wedge has finally got the price back in.
yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out with gold. I want to move on to cannabis stocks a bit.
Okay.
We've seen a huge speculative run-up into the legalization in Canada last year, and then the tops on almost every market was the day before legalization. So buy the rumor,
Right.
sell the news.
Wow.
People have been just selling down like crazy since legalization. Most of the reason, like there's going to be sell down because of the speculation part. Now, a lot of the misses that keep pulling down the prices is because the government did a horrible job rolling out legislation. We didn't just take our existing models and our existing stores and give them the right to operate legally. Everything got shut down and everything had to reapply, and everything has been painstakingly slow, and that has made everybody miss revenues, and everything has crashed. So we're going to use TLRY here. It's just indicative of the rest of the market. So starting in the next few weeks, mid-December at the latest, we're supposed to be having edibles and CBD and other things hit the shelf. So there will be more products for the market, which should increase revenue. And as the first full year has gone by, and finally municipalities are getting more and more stores on board, like approved, I should say, more stores would meet more legal demand. So I think more products hitting the shelves and more shelves to be hit should make a lot of these charts stabilize. And back to what we were talking about before, gold and Bitcoin, two separate things, two separate scales, but the charts look the same. Here again, here's Bitcoin, but against TLRY, two separate things, two separate charts, two totally separate, but it's the speculativeness, the emotion on the way down, and now we're seeing these fundamentals in the next few months. So I think that people should be looking at cannabis stocks again, if that's their thing. We're going to
Nice.
go
Interesting.
into altcoins here. So it really looks like Ethereum is trying to test a breakout of these downtrends, even if
What's
it's
Matt? Excuse me. What's the symbol for Tilray again? TLRY.
yeah.
Thank you.
So if this this lines here are pretty sloppy because the last show I was on, it kind of got moved around a bit. But the general theory here is that based on cyclical dates and when alts tend to move, that we should be expecting something either between now and the 23rd of September, I think, or if we don't have a big reaction in the market, then it could be December 7th to 21st would be the next time I would be looking at that.
You had something on ZAR you wanted to show,
Yeah,
USD
I
ZAR?
did, correct. So something I tweeted about recently, one of those, I hate being right about this kind of thing, because a while
Yeah.
back I started talking about what was happening there, and it seems like with the land grabs, it's kind of like Zimbabwe 2.0. So
Wow.
I think that unfortunately is a market that FX traders should continue to watch, because
it's going to continue to weaken.
It
So
just
long USDs are.
Yeah, and
Bottom line.
there's no fundamentals right now saying that anything there is going to get better, and it sucks, but you just kind of got to take opportunity when opportunity presents itself.
Yeah, there's no Mandela we're on the stage there.
No, and the fact that it's not, at the beginning it was like, okay, well, there's going to be problems with food manufacturing and probably water with the way water's been going, and it's going to be outlash against whites and white farmers, but it's going to be the blacks and of course the children that hurt the most. But now what we're seeing is Nigerians being attacked, and Tanzanian truck drivers aren't even coming in the country. So it's beyond even just whites. It's just a whole big bad mess. Off to our next one.
Don't take a vacation to Pretoria.
Yeah, exactly. Which is actually a nice segue into the next part here.
Okay.
This was an article.
I do that.
Yeah.
I'm Mr. Segway.
Perfect. So capital flight in Bitcoin. So often people talk about, there's problems in China. People can't get their money out. Bitcoin is rising, blah, blah, blah. It's China. So, but I wanted to try and quantify that. And I think that there's misnomers within that. I don't think there is a lot of capital flight. And I think it kind of happens after the fact when people aren't expecting it. So first thing, capital flight versus China and devaluation. I think that there is a clear correlation between devaluation of, renminbi and or yuan, and Bitcoin. And there was a relationship between that in 2015, 2016.
Yeah, 15 was I remember in August.
And recently it has been as well too. So I thought to myself, oh man, I wonder if Bitcoin's going to get going because of Hong Kong, and is Hong Kong going to lose a dollar peg, and this could really get out of control. And then I looked up, so what do we got here? So this is local Bitcoins Singapore. So local Bitcoins is, to me, the way that the street level user that might not be able to have an account is going to be able to way to find Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Yeah. And this really looks kind of reminiscent of the recent Bitcoin price chart, up, down, bear market, little bounce, back down. And over here to China, kind of looks the same as Singapore, right? Singapore is totally stable. China's has all these issues, capital flight. No, that doesn't look like capital flight at all. It looks like the chart. Hong Kong, same thing. I don't see none. All the huge impact over the last few months, nothing. So no capital flight. But let's look at Venezuela.
Oh my God.
Let's look at Argentina. And when has Argentina, it's been bad. And where did it really get bad and default? So my sort of thing is, I don't think there is capital flight, but I think there is devaluation. And I think it's one of those, like, do people need Bitcoin? And it's kind of like, no, not until it's too late, is kind of the catchphrase that I think is presenting itself. So I think, in retrospect, after looking all at this chart and everything that is happening socially and fundamentally, that we're probably going to see this kind of thing happen there as well too. Because did they need Bitcoin a couple of years ago? Not really. Maybe it's flowing with the market, but as soon as people are lighting each other on fire in the street, things are probably going to go wrong, and people like us are going to look at the chart and go, I should probably be looking at shorting this market or whatever, and then that just compounds all the problems, right? So I think this is a really interesting narrative to watch, the capital flight versus economic and monetary.
Do you have any your gut, which we all have trader intuition, you have any intuition about where the next important bout of capital flight might take place?
I don't. I don't like to speculate on that kind of, because trying to figure out a why just often makes you just kind of crazy. Why does it happen? So
are you still constructive on risk in equities, and any view on what's happened in interest rates? And we could wrap it with those if you have any comment on it.
Yeah, not too much comment on that. I think that
Okay.
the general market, I don't think it's done yet. And I think if Trump can do kind of what I was talking about before that, I think that leaves the market in a risk-on scenario. And I think that tends
Matt,
to
is
be
your
good for liquidity.
astrological stuff pointing towards the reelection of President Trump?
Um, uh, I don't even, I haven't even looked at that yet. I've just been
Okay.
kind of looking at what's been going on. Yeah. If we got
Well, I
two
mean, you
minutes,
extrapolated earlier in the
yeah.
interview. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So,
We
just
have
like,
all the time you want.
sure. Okay. Thanks. So the last thing I just wanted to touch on was because you mentioned Livermore last time,
Yeah.
and shortly in the beginning of this one, and I would love to do that. I've seen other people kind of talk about parabolas, but that's one of the things I really enjoy charting and got me into doing well with altcoins, because altcoins in the crypto space move so quickly, and the parabolas manifest themselves and mature very quickly. So an easy way to look at this is just like a whole bunch of accumulation along the bottom, and Livermore would kind of do his sort of that alligator channel kind of thing that happens, and then it pops out for its final uh, parabolic move at the top. How I like to do it is look at it with structure, kind of like back where I was talking about here, the 3 steps and a blow off. And I think that that is indicative of the structure of all parabolas. So on the short time frame, it's like 1, 2, 3, and this blow off there, right?
Right.
And you can kind of just see it
Yeah.
manifest itself all the way up. And then on the bigger scale, 2, 3, and then up. The important part to remember is that you always have a long accumulation, this kind of channel, which is often broadening, uh, will often have the first 2 steps in it. And then the third step may not always have a large retracement. Sometimes, on a larger time frame, it might retrace out and then go like that. A lot of times with altcoins, you'll see it, just make a little hitch and then go straight up. So the
Huh.
placement of that third kicker is a little bit
And this is what
open for
Livermore traded the tape with.
yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And then the back side of that, which is I think fairly important for crypto, is that there's usually just a straight sell off afterwards.
Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah,
Matt, what you just showed is a graphic illustration of an expression that markets bottom in silence and top with violence.
yeah,
You
sounds
like
about.
that?
Yeah, I
And
like
you
that.
and you should talk to Don Mead at Seven Sentinels. He's a Livermore fanatic, and I bet you guys could learn some things from each other. At Seven
Perfect.
Sentinels, he's really a great guy. You'd like him.
Awesome. Okay, I'll check that out. Yeah, so
Okay.
I just, main thing to watch for people is that, there's lots of ways to convolute it, but you want to be looking at, sideways. You'd be a typical kind of Wyckoff thing here if we were to pull in, a breakdown, a retest, markups, those kind of thing. Something I would like people to notice is I have volume on the chart, is we see this ramp up here,
Yeah.
volume each time, and we have these spikes. Now, I think this is this is just a people playing breakouts kind of thing. So you have this huge influx of volume on a breakout. Another thing to remind people of is so maybe in Bitcoin and other charts or other markets that have leverage, is that you're going to be seeing a lot of these spikes of volume, either selling to the downside or the green buys to the upside. Is often the market wants to push, and then you think, okay, maybe it's done, and it has one last breakout, and that last breakout is where people are basically getting their positions covered or stopped out or liquidated, right? So
Yeah.
that big push of volume is liquidations, and we see a big push of volume here at this top, this big push of volume here at this top. And it's important that, to me, if you're trading parabolas, you got to understand that once you see a reduction in volume and a new high after, like if we were to zoom this out a bit, and I'll move this accumulation channel over. that you're kind of getting this ramp in volume here, 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 here. All the new highs and all the new volume is increasing with it. And then once you start getting new highs with reduced volume, you're looking for your exit. So that's what I would want people to look at when they're looking at any parabolas, or especially if you are in the crypto market and you're wanting to trade altcoins. Once you see them break out of their range and retest, and you're now following the trend. So now, so A, we have accumulation, we break out of the range, we retest. As everything is retesting, we are now in a trend. You can probably do well by just, following the parabola upwards. Obviously in here, we recheck ourselves, we kind of make new highs and consolidate, and we just kind of draw that out again, and the same thing happens. But this time on this breakdown, we already know that we had new highs on reduced volume. So this time when market comes down to our moving average and things like that, we're much more tepid on coming into the market. And then finally, when we get down to right here, old swing lows again, boom, we have a nice pop. So these are often lovely times to hit an altcoin market. Maybe you're not making these massive gains, but you can look for that pattern and get these, what's coming in here, say like 620. There's not much liquidity here, 720. So even if you're banging out 20% gains, that kind of stuff accumulates quickly. You don't have to be the guy that's going for broke every single time. You can look for accumulation, increase in volume. Once you start following a trend, you're just looking for volume to increase. After you make a new high with reduced volume, you're looking for your way out. And then after your way out, your bounces, you're looking for, maybe here, 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 bounces off an old swing low. So,
okay. Wow. I tell you what, Matt, I really enjoyed it. Really interesting insights and perspectives. You didn't disappoint
thank you.
me. Excellent presentation. I learned from you today, and I'm sure anyone who watched this live or the video will experience the same thing. So thank you very much, my trading warrior brother, for coming back. And I'd like to have you back again, like, every 2-3 months, and
love it.
Keep in touch and kind of become a semi-regular. So
thank you very much. I feel honored to be part of the crew.
well, much respect from me. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.
All right. Good hunting, and may pips rain down on you, buddy.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Bye-bye,
Take
everyone.
it easy. All right, everyone. That was Matt Thistle, and follow him on Twitter. And I just want to show you something before I say goodbye. Turnaround Tuesday trade was gold. Interrupted Blake like I interrupt everyone. We were putting in a higher low here. It was a 1 hour. Yeah, it was right here. So decent scalp, right, from $8. Maybe we're going to moving average, maybe 15.20. That worked. The end, not as great, but still could work. Looking at 107.08, and then maybe tested the breakdown. So everyone have a great day, and I'll see you in tomorrow. So good hunting, everyone. Any questions before I go? Anything in chat? Let's see. You're welcome, Scott, Ingmar. Okay, everyone. So that's a wrap. I'll see everyone tomorrow. You're welcome, Claudia. Hope you maybe caught a little gold action there. And I'll see everyone tomorrow. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. You're welcome, Brock. Adios.